Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast where on a night that there was supposed to be no rules, there sure were a lot of them. It's Lost in the Midcard. Welcome to our special Extreme Rules post-show. We will break down the card. We'll give you a few headlines. Not many, but we'll give you a few here since we're going to be off for about a week and a half. And give you our 5 count. It's Extreme Rules, so we'll go back to the actual land of Extreme and give you our 5 favorite ECW wrestlers of the period. And see where we go from here on that Raw brand after we have crowned a new #1 contender for Great Balls of Fire. But first, thank you to SpiderDuck.net for being our host, enabling us to be on iTunes and any of your favorite podcasting apps. What you got to do is search for Lost in the Midcard and hit subscribe. If you've already done so, tell your friends and tell their friends to tell their friends so we can get everybody in on the show. And you'll know every time a new episode comes your way every Thursday and most Mondays after a WWE pay-per-view. Just a quick programming note, this Thursday we will not have an episode as I will be traveling out of state. We will be back at you a week from Thursday for our Money in the Bank preview show. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube. The links to all those are on the notes section of our Facebook page, facebook.com/Lost in the Midcard. We're also on the Twitter at LATMC Podcast. I am your host, Jeremy Bennett. You can find me on the Twitter at JB Huskers, and as always, my co-host, he is on the Twitter at Raw F Showtime. It is Mr. Matt Black. Matt, how you doing?
One match show. One match show. One match show.
I disagree.
It was a one-match show. The rest of this pay-per-view felt like I was watching a Monday Night Raw. The only thing about this show tonight that didn't feel like an episode of Raw was the main event.
So even the cage match?
Cage match was a paint-by-numbers cage match that you'd see on any edition of Raw.
My God, the women's championship match went 5 minutes. Wow, we'll talk about that later.
when you have 6 matches within 3 hours, and that's all you gave them, an absolute disservice to both of those women. Like downright embarrassing. With what SmackDown is doing with the women's division right now, with a Money in the Bank in just a few weeks, and you do that for the Raw brand. It really shows you where the priorities lie between Monday nights and Tuesdays.
And they're like teasing that Nia Jax is next in line against Alexa Bliss. So.
No, the only reason they're teasing that is because Bliss got Nia on her side by telling her when she was done with Bayley, she was going to give her a title shot. And Nia Jax is clearly the Sting, the early 90s Sting of the WWE right now, and actually is gullible enough to believe what Bliss was saying. He was just using you, Nia Jax, you big dummy. She ain't giving you a title shot. So stupid.
Yeah, I like the end of the cage match. I didn't know if I was going to like it with the stipulation.
Actually, I really hated the both people need to escape.
Yeah.
And no pinfall or submission roll.
I didn't know how that was going to play out.
A lot of the way the logic was done in this match was really dumb. Like when Jeff got out, and it was just Matt and the other two. Why? And at one point where Sheamus was going through the door, why the fuck didn't Matt just let Sheamus leave?
Yeah.
It could have just been him and Cesaro one-on-one. He decapitates Cesaro, and then he climbs out himself.
That or
like the whole logic booking to me is what ruined the cage match, because logically that match didn't make any sense.
Yeah, there was a point where it was 2-on-1 and Matt could have ran out the door.
Yeah.
Instead he climbed the cage.
He kept climbing the cage. Like logically, like the match just didn't make sense. Like, and that's why like all 4 guys worked hard. I ain't taking anything away from any of those guys. They busted their ass. But the logic of that match didn't make any sense. It wasn't well done, and it's a perfect example of a crowd that goes into the beginning of the night, and it's very clear from Kalisto and Cruz and the opener with Miz and Dean. This crowd just wanted to have a good time. Like, they were just dead set. You're like, we paid our money. We're here. We're going to have fun. And by, like, over halfway through that pay-per-view, that crowd was just like, yeah, they killed it for us. We're just not excited anymore. And they didn't get them back. They didn't get the crowd back until the main event. And, it is everything to do with Vince and his terrible creative team. And it's just really sad. Because the talent, the amazing talent that WWE has on their roster in 2017 doesn't deserve the shitty creative that Vince McMahon shoves down our throats on a weekly basis.
A few quick headlines. First, our condolences to the Poffo family, as Lanny Poffo, the genius, he let us know on Twitter yesterday that his mother of the age died at the age of 90.
I didn't even hear about that.
Yep. Lanny Poffo tweeted that at about 11 o'clock last night. Obviously, the mother of the late Randy Savage as well. So, thoughts go to the Poffo family on the passing of their mother. Also, positive vibes go to Harley Race, who broke both of his legs in a fall at his home after tripping and falling earlier this week. He sustained fractures to his right femur and a break in his left fibula and tibia, as well as a spiral break of the left ankle. He underwent emergency surgery to relieve the swelling in both of his legs late last Tuesday, and received 4 blood transfusions. Underwent surgery yesterday to reset the fractures. So, get well soon, champ. A couple of quick ratings updates. Due to the holiday, we didn't get SmackDowns yet, but they did get a slight increase up to 2.35 million, an increase of nearly a little over 20,000 from the week prior. And Impact Wrestling continues their alternating weeks of going above and below 300 grand. They drop again to 287,000 for this week's episode. And the Best of the Super Juniors final is set. It should be a good one. The time-traveling man, Kushida, he wins Block B, so he'll get to face Will Ospreay for the finals of the Best of the Super Juniors. And actually, you do know
that already happened, right?
Yeah, that happened on Saturday.
Yeah, Kushida defeated Will Ospreay in the finals.
Yeah, I didn't see the article there on PW Insider of who won. So
yeah, Kushida won.
It's good stuff there. Maybe that elevates him high in the card in New Japan. Is he still the television champion too for Ring of Honor?
As far as I know, he hasn't lost the title.
Extreme Rules tonight. Kickoff show. Definitely a match worthy of the kickoff show when you have a series of 3-minute and 2-minute matches on Raw to build it. But Apollo Crews and Kalisto actually got double the time almost of Bayley and Alexa Bliss. But it was a decent match. I mean, this is what the match. This is how the matches should have gone on a 3-hour Monday Night Raw, and maybe we would care about the feud more. You agree?
Yeah.
I mean, they went about 10 minutes on this pre-show, and I thought it was a solid match. It would have been this would have been great on Monday Night Raw to set the tone for a feud instead of these stupid 3-minute matches. So I thought it was a decent kickoff show match.
No, the match itself was fine. I have a really hard time getting invested in anything Titus brand related.
You're not buying into the stock of the Titus brand, huh?
No, I don't think anybody is.
You buy low and sell high, Matt, so you got to buy low here, man.
It's never been high.
We still buy low, though. Kalisto hit. Titus was on the apron. Kalisto hits the Salida del Sol, kicking Titus in the process to get the pin on Apollo Crews for the 1-2-3. Pre-show was Sam Roberts, is that right?
Yeah, Sam Roberts was on the pre-show.
The return of David Otunga and Renee Young. And I'm starting to like Sam Roberts a little more and more.
What's the haps?
Just warming up. I'm warming up to old Sam now. I did love the when he about shit his pants when Nia Jax was going to kill him, but and then how about that awkward question Cole threw to Booker T? Hey, glad Otunga's back during the pre-show. Wonder if Vince fed that line to Cole.
I have no idea.
Intercontinental Champion, not the Internet Championship match. I think Zack Ryder still holds that title. Intercontinental Championship match. Dean can lose the title on a DQ. Dean Ambrose, Miz. I thought this was a very good match, and was hoping to God that they wouldn't ruin it with the obvious some kind of DQ finish on Ambrose, which they didn't. So I'm gonna say this was a very solid match overall. It's close between this and the cruiserweights for the second best match of the pay-per-view. Obviously, the best match was the clear choice favorite going in with the main event. But I thought even though we've seen it a million times, I thought Ambrose and Miz did well here. Had a great match. Miz tried to do the DQ stuff, but didn't get away with it, and ended causing a distraction for Ambrose as he's trying to plead with the ref to not DQ him, and he walks right into a skull-crushing finale. So your new Intercontinental Champion is The Miz after a 20-minute match. 7-time Intercontinental Champion, only second behind Chris Jericho's nine Intercontinental title reigns. So congrats to The Miz for winning that back. Matt, what were your thoughts on the match, and did the finish make you like the match a little more since it wasn't the predictable finish?
Honestly, I was just happy the match didn't end in a DQ.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's really all I asked for from that match, because they telegraphed it so bad that stipulation was going to come into play and be the finish of the match. So I actually was just happy that Miz won the title. I mean, I won't say fair and square, but at least Miz won the title by pinning Dean Ambrose, and I didn't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I obviously Dean's my guy, so I mean, but I'm a wrestling fan first and foremost, so Dean's my guy, but I think Miz with the title on Raw is going to be good. There's plenty of challengers that can maybe step up and have a good feud with him. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. I mean, I still think he should have been pushed into the main event level with Maurice, but I think Maurice has done so much for him over the past about 14, 15 months. But hey, I mean, a 7-time Intercontinental Champion's not a bad thing either, is it, Matt?
No, I mean, absolutely not. Jericho's done it.
Noam Dar, Alicia Fox against Sasha Banks, Rich Swann. What'd you think of this one here, the intergender tag match, Matt?
I would like to believe that WWE decided to do something about the guy always losing in his hometown after the backlash they got on Tuesday for what they did with Styles, and decided to put Swann over here. I really hope that was the reason. I thought the match was fine for what it was. I mean, it didn't blow me away or anything, but I thought everybody did what they could with the time that they were allotted, and I was happy to see for once that the hometown guy, got the win.
That was a great
I was half
ovation.
thinking if Swann and Banks win this match, Banks is pinning Fox.
Aww.
And I was just like, they're not gonna, even if they win, they're not gonna let the hometown guy get the damn win. So I was happy to see Swann get the win there. You want people to keep coming to your shows. Stop, making them mad when they get there. Let the hometown people win sometimes. The hometown guy or the hometown girl always losing. It's just ridiculous. It's just.
And in 2 weeks, it's going to happen. In 2 weeks, it's going to happen again. as Randy Orton.
I don't know, man.
You think?
I don't know.
You think Orton might win it at Money in the Bank?
I'll tell you right now what I think is going to happen. This is just an opinion. I think Corbin's winning Money in the Bank. I think Orton's going to win the title back from Jinder, and then Corbin's going to come out and cash in and end the show. Like I would rather the Money in the Bank briefcase stay around a bit. But having a women's one, doesn't necessarily mean that they need to have two on the show for months. So,
but Dean cashed his in right away too. So
he did.
I don't know if that'll happen or not.
Well, we will see.
Well, our next
honestly would not surprise me.
Our next show is on the 15th of June, so that's going to be 3 days from Money in the Bank. So we'll see if our tunes have changed by then. I thought the double knees by Banks onto Noam Dar, that was a pretty cool spot. I always love seeing Banks and Swan getting down in the ring. That's always entertaining. So good fun match there for 5 minutes. And then surprisingly enough, they go right into the other women's match, the kendo stick on a pole match, which we all figured was not going to be. Hey, it's an on a pole match, so that's already disastrous as it is. And boy, Matt, Bayley sure wasn't done any favors tonight as she got completely spanked in.
They jobbed her out hard.
5 minutes. Cruz and Kalisto got double the time that Bliss and Bayley got, basically playing on the fact that Bayley can't get extreme, so that cost her, and cost her in more ways than one, because Alexa Bliss took her to town with that kendo stick and then hits her finishing DDT, and so, wow, I think that's what I said to you on Twitter, was just, wow, 5-minute job, but, that's just a fitting end for this This Is Your Life and all that shit. So I guess it was a fitting end to a shitty build, right?
I'm just like I mentioned on Twitter earlier on this evening, I'm absolutely blown away by how much WWE has managed to ruin the Bayley character from 1 year from this time in NXT to now.
It's amazing how...
It's amazing how bad that they've ruined her.
But it's still amazing how she still got a big pop out of Baltimore tonight, too. Even though
they booed her when she did the interview before the match.
She got a pop when she came out, though.
But the crowd was split.
I did hear the boos. Oh,
the crowd was split, though.
Nah, I didn't.
The crowd was never split with Bayley in NXT.
No, yeah, she got
they've literally had the crowd... There's people on the WWE crowd that don't like this character because WWE's main roster has done an absolute shit show of booking this character properly on the main roster. And honestly, it's heartbreaking to see. And if I'm Triple H, I'm just like, I'm in a private room in the back just slamming my head against the wall. Because all the hard work that he does to create all this amazing talent in NXT, only to bring them up to the main roster and watch the old man ruin them, it has to eat him alive. Like, it really, really has to eat him alive. Like, I'm sure he's just counting down the days where Vince goes away and he could actually just run this thing himself. Because it's so disappointing. You spend years of hard work making these talents what they are, and then you just watch Vince just ruin it, and it just, I can't think of a more disheartening feeling than that.
Yeah, did you read Dave Scherer's article on PW Insider about the ratings and
Yes, I did. He made a lot of great points.
Yeah. And I wonder, what's going to happen. You're not even making $3 million on Raw when even a year ago when we thought, oh, this is low, at $4 million,
Yeah.
Or $3.5 million. We think that's low, and then it drops $1 million a year later, and they're going to have no bargaining power with USA. And Dave wonders if USA leaves the wrestling business. I don't think they will. I don't, but the WWE is not going to get as big of a benefit on a new contract unless they step their game up.
I wouldn't be surprised if USA makes them take less money.
Yep. And that is that's maybe that's what makes Vince wake up. I don't know. Triple H says, "Hey, hello, McFly."
They'd be like, "Oh yeah, we'd love to have you, but for 25% less than we're giving you now."
Exactly.
And they would be totally justified.
Yeah.
In doing so, because they've lost over 25% of their viewership.
Yeah.
So if USA decides that, when it's time to contracts come to the table, and we're like, yeah, we'll bring you back, but we're going to bring you back for less than we're giving you now, I don't blame them a bit. Like, they're totally within their right because they paid for a product that was generating 4 million viewers on every Monday night to a product that's, doing, only 3/4 of that now. And sometimes less.
And wasn't it odd to you that there was not even a sponsor for this pay-per-view?
Well, there was a commercial for KFC, so I'm assuming KFC at some point had a minor sponsorship in the show. But yeah, there was no main sponsorship like you normally see.
No, it was WWE Network Presents.
And I did find it funny that I don't remember who tweeted at us, but somebody tweeted at us that Serta was the sponsor of this pay-per-view tonight, which that made me laugh. I didn't expect that.
I think that was our buddy 3 Second Tan. Let me look.
3 Second Tan. He's a good guy.
Let me look here. Yep. Our buddy at 3 Second Tan. Serta is the low-key sponsor. Just like hopefully penicillin is the sponsor for Great Balls of Fire.
Oh my.
And how about Adam Jones dressed as Virgil? That was pretty cool.
He was purposely dressed as Virgil, right? He wasn't just...
Yeah, because he had his two buddies with him were dressed as IRS and DiBiase.
Okay. I thought he was, but I just wanted to make sure that he was legitimately dressed like Virgil.
Yeah, his buddies were dressed up as IRS and DiBiase, so...
Yeah, you're right. Now that I think about it, yeah.
I thought that was pretty solid. All right, let's go to our 5 count, our usual pay-per-view staple, the 5 count. We got to get some sort of extreme into Extreme Rules, so let's talk about ECW. Our 5 favorite ECW wrestlers. Now, I didn't get into the ECW train until late in the process, probably 98, 99. I'm not sure about you, Matt. You were in the East, so you might have had a better access.
I definitely saw more than you did.
So I won't have the Dudleys on my list because I've never seen the Dudleys in ECW. So I'll be honest.
I don't have them on my list either.
Okay. Well, who do you got at number 5, Matt?
Number 5, I've got the Sandman.
Oh yeah.
He had an amazing ECW run for the Sandman. Just his entrance alone, was iconic. And when they finally gave him the Enter Sandman music, and it all clicked. He's still just, when you think of ECW nowadays, one of the guys you still have to think of immediately is the Sandman. He just left. He wasn't the best guy in the ring, but he left a lasting impact from that company and for his legacy. And yeah, I'll never forget the Sandman.
My number 5 is Shane Douglas. What ECW did with Shane Douglas is what WWE should have done with Shane Douglas. I absolutely loved the Shane Douglas character in ECW. Obviously, Dean Douglas was that just epitomized everything in the that just epitomized everything in the WWE before the Attitude Era. So, and a quick mention, I'm going to say Sabu outside of the top 5. Hard to keep him outside of the top 5.
That's interesting because I have Sabu and Shane Douglas as my honorable mentions.
Yeah,
neither of us put Sabu on. I figured you were going to give me shit for not putting Sabu in my top 5. I'm very surprised right now. Sabu and Douglas are my honorable mentions.
Yeah, I liked Sabu, but there's somebody else more extreme that I liked better. and he'll be at my number 1. But Shane Douglas, again, I just was everything that the WWE fucked up on, So, who do you got at number 4, Matt?
Number 4, the heart and soul of ECW, the innovator of violence, Tommy Dreamer. Dude, when he first came into ECW, man, nobody liked that dude. He was doing like the pretty boy gimmick with like the suspenders, kind of almost like what Andre Cien Elmas came in as, without the hat. Like that's kind of like the gear Dreamer was wearing when he first started. And it wasn't until he got into a feud with the Sandman, and he took like a ridiculous caning from him, that he ended up, winning over the crowd. And he was an absolute staple for that company.
Well, a lot of people thought that was what they were going to do with Bayley tonight. And,
they really should have.
Yeah, a lot of people thought that was going to happen. The whole Tommy Dreamer thing.
Yeah, well, they ruined poor Bayley tonight. And well, I don't know if there's any coming back for her.
It's good.
Like they've heard her so bad. I wish that the draft split shakeup didn't already happen.
Yeah.
Because I wish they could move her to SmackDown Tuesday. That's how badly they fucked her.
She's gonna be.
I wish they could move her.
She's gonna be feuding with Alicia Fox now.
Well, look, Naomi needs a title challenger for Money in the Bank in a few weeks. Maybe you just pull the trigger and move Bayley to SmackDown.
Can they do trades? Who knows?
They did Swagger. Swagger's contract was up midnight Monday night, and he was on SmackDown the next night. It's an example to show that they've done it before.
Yeah.
So, I would, as badly as they fucked her tonight, and as badly as they've treated her over the last several weeks, the best thing they could do to Bayley right now is to move her to SmackDown.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to, but she would benefit so much from a brand move right now, it's not even funny.
Hey, Matt, my number 4, Tommy Dreamer.
Yeah.
The ultimate babyface.
Man, I'm kind of wondering if our top 3 is exactly the same.
It's not. I guarantee you.
Okay.
I guarantee you for one reason, because, well, we'll get there. Tommy Dreamer, ultimate babyface. His 1-year feud with Raven was amazing. He's basically, you're right, the heart and soul of ECW, and there's a reason for that. So Tommy Dreamer's my number 4. Number 3 for you, Matt.
So it shall be written, shall it shall come to pass. Quote the Raven, nevermore. You just mentioned the man, his year-long feud with Tommy Dreamer. There were so many important things that Raven did in ECW to not only make guys like Dreamer, but to just cement himself as an icon of that promotion. Look, you want to talk about what WWE did to Shane Douglas as Dean Douglas? This was Johnny fucking Polo.
Yeah.
Managing the Quebecers. And then he became, Raven. And, he went to WCW and had a great run there. Then he went back to ECW. Won the tag titles with Tommy Dreamer, of all people.
Yeah.
Then he had a run in WWE. Raven was awesome. Raven was always one of my favorites. And there was never a dull moment to me when Raven was on your TV screen.
And he
was an interesting character that always stood out and was different than everybody else.
And he was still the same. He was still the same in Impact Wrestling too. So
yep. Yeah, absolutely. He won the NWA Championship down there.
He created the Clockwork Orange House of Fun match. The same Raven from ECW carried over to WCW and then also to Impact Wrestling as well.
In WWE, that might be one of the rare characters that actually was a part of all 4 promotions in a featured position,
and never was altered either.
Yeah, I'm hard pressed that I'm sure I could come up with a name or two if I really stopped and thought about it. But it's really hard to think of a guy who portrayed the exact same character in all 4 of those promotions.
Yeah.
That's an impressive feat that clearly can never be done again because, two of those promotions no longer exist. I mean, even Raven did Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
He had that great feud with CM Punk. Raven did all 5 promotions. That's insane. Dude, I bet you there's nobody who did all 5. Nobody but Raven. That's crazy.
My number 3 is one of my favorite podcasters of today, but he was such a badass in ECW. It's Taz, the Human Suplex Machine. There wasn't, in my pro wrestling watching career, there was a lot of guys that I'd never seen this type of before in WWE and NWA. And you got this complete badass motherfucker in Taz. And I just always, and I mean, his slogan was right. The mood's about to change. It always did when he entered the ring. And I just loved watching him work in there. What'd you got at number 2, Matt?
Number 2, I have Taz.
Yeah!
So, Taz is, dude, I really wish that guy would have been able to truly show what he could do when he got to WWE. But they cut his balls off after his debut.
Yep.
Because they didn't like the fact that he was already over without them. And, and it just never panned out for him in WWE. But, dude, if you've never watched ECW Taz, like, load up the damn network once you're done listening to this show and go back and watch some Taz matches from ECW. The dude was fucking incredible. And he did a lot for that company behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Helping them make the merchandise and all that, and just Taz was the man. Taz was the man, dude.
My number 2 is Sandman, not because of in-ring ability, but just the whole package outside of it. I mean, the entrance, the beer, the Singapore cane, the cigarettes, busting yourself open before the bell even rings. Like I said with Taz, it was a guy I'd never seen in a wrestling promotion before, and blew me away. And I just loved this dude every time. He wasn't a technical wrestler by any means.
No, absolutely not.
But he entertained the shit out of me, and I loved watching him every time he was on the television.
And that's some of the things that drive me nuts. Sometimes people will actually condemn people because they're not great workers. Well, some of the biggest
Ultimate Warrior wasn't a great worker.
Hulk Hogan wasn't a great worker either.
Nope.
Some of the best superstars, the marketable money superstars of all time, weren't that great in the ring. If you have an amazing character and you can connect to the audience, unlike anybody else, you don't have to be a 5-star match worker. And it's really sad that a lot of the modern day fans have seemed to forget about that.
Yeah, oddly enough, when you go back to think about it, the 80s, and you think about champions, the best, what do you want to say? The most talented champion was probably Macho Man. Of the 80s champions, of course, there are very few champions, but it wasn't until, and it was always there was never, outside of the Macho Man, in the 80s, there really wasn't a talented champion that could perform in the ring until Shawn Michaels finally won in the early 90s. So
Flair held it for a while.
Yeah, I guess I forget. I always forget.
And Bret Hart.
I always forget Flair had a.
And Yokozuna was a hell of a lot better than a lot of people give him credit for.
Yeah.
Easily one of the best agile big men of all time. But in the 80s, dude, it was only 3 guys. Once Hogan won the title in '84, the only three people to hold that title in the '80s was Hogan, Savage, and Warrior.
Didn't Andre?
No, Andre never held the title. He fought for it at WrestleMania 3 with Hogan, and he lost.
Mm.
Well, I mean, I guess technically Andre won it, quote unquote, but I mean, it was the whole twin referee gimmick, and $1 Billion Man paid him off, and he handed the title over to DiBiase, so then they've just vacated it instead, and they did that tournament at WrestleMania 4, which ended up with Savage winning the title from Ted DiBiase in the finals. So, I mean, technically Andre did win the title, But I mean, I don't really know if that's like an actual. I don't know if that's actually in the history books, just because of the way it all went down. You know, with the way he was stripped afterwards and whatnot. I'd actually have to go back and look and see if they actually acknowledge Andre the Giant as a former WWE champion. Because that's a really good trivia question right there, JB.
Yeah, I'm taking a look right now. And DiBiase never held it, did he?
He did not. He was actually he was scheduled to win that tournament at WrestleMania 4, and something happened, and they decided to go with Savage instead. I don't remember what the whole story was behind that.
Yeah, they do credit Andre the Giant with a less than 1 day reign as the 11th ever WWE champion.
Before they vacate. All right, cool. That's cool to know. Like, I honestly, I figured with the whole vacated thing, I never knew if they actually acknowledged him as champion. But dude's a legend. Dude deserves to be acknowledged as, as a former WWE champion. But yeah, he held it for a day. So.
Yep. So he is credited as the 11th champion in history.
Yeah, okay. So, after Hogan, there were 4 people in the 80s to hold the title, if you want to count Andre.
Yep. Hogan, Andre, well, Sheik, but that was 83. But yeah, from when Hogan won it in 84, Andre, Savage, then back to Hogan, and Warriors was in 90. So.
Wow, was WrestleMania 6 really 1990?
Yeah, April 1st, 90.
Wow.
Matt, I have a feeling our number ones are going to match. Who do you got for number 1?
Rob Van Dam.
The whole fucking show.
Dude, some of my favorite times of ECW was his run as the television champion. That, who knows how it would have ended if he wouldn't have, shattered his ankle in that freak accident in the ring. Rob Van Dam made ECW cool. Like, he was just a cool guy, and he was one of the reasons why that brand really started to take off around that time to compete alongside WWE and WCW, the Monday Night Wars, because people, were attracted to a guy like Rob Van Dam. He kicked ass. He was cool as shit. He did cool stuff that you weren't seeing on Raw or Nitro, and he just brought a different style to professional wrestling that, like, I truly don't think he gets enough credit for to this day, because he kind of changed the business.
Yeah.
With his style, because a lot of people adapted it afterwards in the States, but Rob really was the first one in the United States to wrestle the style that he was wrestling, which ushered in a brand new wave of talent since then that got their spot because of the way RVD worked.
You see a lot of things that Seth Rollins does, AJ Styles does. Those are things that were innovated by Rob Van Dam. As I said, ECW showed me a bunch of characters that I'd never seen before in professional wrestling. And just like you said, Rob Van Dam showed me a style of wrestling I'd never seen. The shit he did, the Van Terminator, the Van Dominator. Amazing shit that he did in the ring. And it was truly just amazing to watch him work and do things in a wrestling ring that you'd never seen before. So definitely Rob Van Dam number 1, so definitely a good match there, right, Matt?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're on the same page, brother.
All right, Extreme Rules. Steel cage match for the tag team championships, the Hardys. Sheamus versus Cesaro. Lots of delete chants in that crowd. I thought it was going into it, I was worried with that weird tag team rules. I think it played out as best as it could with what they had to. Again, Extreme Rules. There's a lot of rules we got to go by.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous.
But I think they put on a good show here. I think they did the best that they could within the rule set. A lot of people lost their shit when Jeff Hardy got back in the match, and then, they say, now he has to re-escape. So I'm like, okay, another rule. So I thought the match was good. I think we predicted the title. Did we predict the title change? I can't remember if I did or not.
I'm pretty sure we did.
I know you predicted all the titles to change.
Yeah, I did. Well, I got 2 out of 4 right.
Yeah.
And look, let's face it, all the titles should have changed tonight. So, but they didn't.
Badass Whisper in the Wind by Jeff Hardy off the top of the cage. That was pretty sweet. White Noise off the top turnbuckle. Another sweet move there. Some good stuff from all 4 guys involved. How would you have what would you have put as a stipulation in this match? I would have said steel cage tornado tag team. Only way you could win is pinfall or submission.
And I really wish that's how cage matches would go back to being. I hate the freaking
escape rule.
I hate the escape rule because I think it takes away
from
the viciousness that cage matches used to be meant for.
Yeah.
You know, like cage matches were the brutal end to a feud. Jimmy Snuka diving off the top of the cage, you know, getting stuff done. Freaking A, like cage matches are a joke now. Like they're not fun anymore. And it's because of the stupid escaping the cage bullshit. Like literally lock the damn door. You can't get out. No one's getting in, and you win by pinfall or submission.
No rules.
No rules. Yes, exactly. I can't stand the escape in the cage bullshit. I fucking hate it. Yeah. I don't like it at all. The logic really hurt what could have been a really good match tonight.
Submission match for the Cruiserweight Championship. The champion Neville taking on Austin Aries. What did you think of this match that got us? They gave us about 18 minutes here on this one.
I don't know, dude. What do you make of Aries' tweet?
Yeah, I don't know. Is that like him saying he's leaving 205 Live and gonna go to Raw or SmackDown?
Is that him leaving the company?
Nah, I wouldn't think so.
Like, I don't know, dude. Like, he had a tweet earlier in the evening that I kind of shrugged off, like, before the match, and then he tweeted out afterwards. Let me see if I can find his other, tonight, like, before the pay-per-view, he tweeted, tonight's at WWE Extreme Rules, witness the beginning, ... in the end. And then he tweeted after the match, and with that, it might be time for some serious life reflection and career reevaluation. Like, what the hell does that mean? Like, is he done?
A couple people after that tweet said, no, he's just leaving the Cruiserweight division, which I'd be fine with. He's a main event player anywhere, so that was my first thought was when I saw that tweet was that he's leaving the Cruiserweight division and going elsewhere. But I don't think he's leaving the WWE.
I sure as fuck hope not.
No, I think he's just leaving the Cruiserweight division.
I hope you're right. I guess those 2 tweets seemed a little ominous to me. So
yeah, I don't think he wants to leave.
Well, I hope you're right.
I mean,
you're right, sir.
I mean, when he was injured, I mean, he was still featured prominently as a commentator. So, I think he knows he's got value in the company even when he's done wrestling. So I don't think he wants to leave the company at all. So I think it's just Raw, SmackDown. I think he's going to one of those places. I thought it was a very solid match, but as soon as Neville tapped out on the outside, I knew the end was nigh for Aries' chances. I am a little baffled how they have him lose 3 straight times, but...
Well, I mean, he won the second time, but it was by disqualification.
Yeah, so I guess he didn't lose 3 straight times, but he lost the opportunity to win the title 3 straight times. I don't know. Unless they go for a 4th when they said, oh, Well, he made him tap out on the outside just because there were rules. You know, that was another thing. You know, a submission match, and there's a submission match, but yet you could get counted out.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense. Like the logic, there were holes all throughout the logic of this show, and it ruins the enjoyment that you should be able to have with this, because just the logic in some of the stuff that they do has just been so bad lately.
I mean, you should just keep it simple. Everything's Extreme Rules for the whole night.
Yep, I absolutely agree with you. And I mentioned that to somebody who was here with me tonight when we were watching the show. I said, when you have a pay-per-view called Extreme Rules, from top to bottom, every single match on the show should be contested in one form or the other under the Extreme Rules tag. Like, if you want to do a kendo stick on a pole or a submissions match or whatever, that's fine. But at the end of the day, all of those matches should still have been held under the moniker of Extreme Rules. And it just didn't work. Like, the whole show, like, up until the main event, to me, it just didn't work.
Yeah. You know, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but it didn't seem like the crowd was hot for this either, were they?
Crowd died like halfway through the show, dude, like I said earlier. And they were super hot at the beginning. They wanted to have a good time. And WWE just browbeated it out of them. You know, like, we don't want you to have a good time, clearly.
And
you know,
then let's follow it up with the first ever Great Balls of Fire promo with a 50s themed video and Jerry Lee Lewis's song being played as the theme.
I don't even know what to say, my friend.
5 weeks till that happens. Main event, Fatal 5-Way. The winner takes on Brock Lesnar at the Fire with Great Balls. And Finn Balor, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Samoa Joe, Bray Wyatt. The two feuds started off the match beating each other up. Finn Balor, Bray Wyatt, Samoa Joe, Seth Rollins. So Roman Reigns just standing in the ring enjoying it all as they are fighting on the outside. Then eventually Roman would start to take over in the match. Then eventually the unholy alliance with Samoa Joe and Bray Wyatt would take form once again, and they ran through the other three competitors quite handily. And some great spots in the match. I thought they overdo the spear through the barricade, but I thought doing it on two men, I thought that was a little cooler, Matt. Did you like that move?
I didn't have a problem with it. You know, I felt the match started off a little slow, but certainly picked up pace as it went along, and they gave this match a lot of time. And for the talent that was in the match, I thought it was very well deserved.
Yeah, almost 30 minutes the match went.
Yeah.
I mean, Seth Rollins with the frog splash on Bray Wyatt through the table, that was badass. All sorts of good stuff throughout the match. Eventually, Joe and Wyatt's partnership would break up. It all started when Seth Rollins dived to the outside of the ring and Bray threw Joe in the crosshairs, and that ended that little thing. Rollins, Roman Reigns getting a stare down, and they go toe to toe. There's Matt's favorite spot of the buckle bomb into the Superman punch.
I flipped out tonight when they did it again. I was like, I can't believe they did this 2 times in 1 week.
Yep. And end of the match, coup de grace. Why do they call it the coup de grace? Is it coup de grace and they were just saying it wrong in NXT?
I don't know.
I need a pronunciation here.
Yeah, you're asking the wrong guy.
Balor hits the coup de grace on Roman. He goes for the pin, but Joe in with the coquina clutch. Even though we were 30 minutes into the match, Matt, I thought somebody was going to break up that coquina clutch on Balor. I didn't think we were done there.
I didn't. I thought that was the finish.
But Balor passes out. Samoa Joe is your new number one contender. Was Joe the betting favorite? Is that why you made that tweet that he was winning?
Yep. And they had every other match right in the evening heading into the main event. So I was like, well, they got everything else right. They're not getting this wrong. So, yep, they were right again.
Samoa Joe, your new number one contender. So even though we have to put up with the Great Balls of Fire name, at least Great Balls of Fire will have a hell of a main event, a dream main event. We were both wrong in our predictions, so...
Oh, the guy we wanted to win won, though.
The guy we wanted to win won. So Matt, we got a dream match, but let me throw a percent chance out there for you. Percentage chance that Samoa Joe takes the title from Brock Lesnar at Great Balls of My Fire.
10%.
10%. I just tear up that script of Reigns and Lesnar. I mean, unless you book Reigns to be the ultimate heel from now until WrestleMania, I don't want to see it.
I think you just need to look at your ratings going down each and every week since WrestleMania and realize that you're not giving the people what they want to see, and you need to fucking change shit to see if you can get the people back. And you could start that by letting your part-time champion drop the title and bring the main title back to Raw every week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, to me, it's like, I think Dave actually said this in his editorial. By not having the main champion of that brand around, you're basically telling the average fan, well, the main champion's not around, so everything they're doing right now on TV isn't important. It's only important when the champion's here.
Yeah.
You know, so, like, honest to God, if they let Lesnar hold that title all the way to WrestleMania 34,
ridiculous.
Oh my God! Just like, you guys are looking to just kill your brand, and you're gonna do it. And the guy you're gonna put the title on is the guy that, you know, over 1 million people decided to stop watching your company because you're shoving him down your throat.
Yeah.
I'm at a loss for words. I don't even know what to say. And you know, me and you, we ain't got nothing against Roman, the person. The dude works great matches. He busts his ass. But, like, the creative for Roman Reigns in WWE, for the most part, sucks. But that's not his fault. That's Vince's fault. Mm. But if you're gonna watch all these people walk away and still go through this plan that you have for next year to have Reigns beat Lesnar for that title in New Orleans, like, I don't even know what to tell you. Like, dude, I don't even know what to tell you.
As we look at the pay-per-view as a whole, Matt, and give it a grade, quickly going down the card, Kalisto and Apollo surprised me with a decent match. I enjoyed Miz and Ambrose greatly. Probably my second favorite match of the night. Swan, Banks, Alexa Bliss's wins, I mean, those were so short. I mean, those are lulls. I thought the tag match was solid. Some logic, of course, where, hey, Matt, you could just run out that door. So there was some magic that could have, or some logic that could have, that kind of took away from it. But overall, I enjoyed it. I thought Neville and Aries gave us a hell of a match. I had no problems with that match at all, and the main event was great. So I'm going to give it a solid B, not a B+, not an A. I'm going to give it a solid B. Just because there was only one true dud on the thing, and it was the women's championship match. The mixed tag was short, as expected, though. So I'm gonna give it a solid B. Where would you give it, Matt?
I would give it a C, leading towards a C+. Mm-hmm. If they would have just had one other, like, great match besides the main event, it easily could have gotten to B territory for me. But I stand by my statement. I feel like this was a one-match pay-per-view. And as great as I love the main event, to me, it doesn't make up for the rest of the show. Let me make it blatantly clear. Without the main event, the show is a big, fat fucking F. The main event brings this up to like a C to a C plus. So grading on a curve there, like I can't give it any higher than that.
Looking ahead to the Raw brand, where we go from here as we head to Great Balls of Fire in July. Who would you like to see step up as the next contender for The Miz on the Intercontinental title?
Well, you got to think the Dean feud's going to continue.
I think they'll have a blow-off. I think they'll have a blow-off match, and then
I would prefer them to move on to somebody else because, I mean, I'll be perfectly honest, my friend. I was tired of this feud when it was being done on Tuesdays. So I really didn't want to see it continue on Mondays. Like, the whole idea of the shakeup was supposed to be giving us brand new feuds that we didn't see before, and they just carried on a damn feud from Tuesday and brought it to Mondays. So, yeah, like, I don't know who was next for The Miz after Dean, but I definitely think it'll be a breath of fresh air to see Miz working with somebody not named Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I don't know, man. I mean,
honestly, I would have to sit down and look at the Raw roster right now, and I don't know if I'm ready to do that.
Seth Rollins?
Well, it depends on how high you wish to elevate the Intercontinental Championship.
You almost got to have to if you're keeping it on Lesnar.
Well, that's what I was just gonna say. If this is going to continue and Lesnar's going to continue to hold that Universal Championship to WrestleMania, which I hope to God he doesn't, you are gonna have to elevate the Intercontinental Championship, and that would mean Miz feuding with people like Seth Rollins and Finn Balor.
What's weird though, Matt, is there is a blatant lack of a mid-card on Raw. I mean,
yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
That's why Seth Rollins is the first thing that came to mind.
I would say Seth Rollins and Finn Balor would be ideal opponents if the Universal title is not being taken off of Lesnar. If the title is being taken off of Lesnar, then you have to look at the roster a little bit harder than you are right now.
Maybe Kalisto. Maybe.
It's just not a feud I would be interested in.
No.
And that's the problem. I just, no offense to Kalisto, but I just wouldn't be interested in a Kalisto-Miz feud.
I mean, there's two guys on the roster that would be great to see in this role, but they have done zero build with them. There's Bo Dallas and there's Curtis Axel on that roster.
Oh, God, you can't put either of those guys in the
No, you can't. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. There is no mid-card. There is no mid-card at all here. So, Alexa Bliss is your champion. We got Great Balls of Fire and then SummerSlam. Are you seeing? It sounds like they pumped the brakes on a Sasha Banks heel turn. So do you think it's Sasha Banks and Bliss headlining the women's division at Mania or at SummerSlam?
That's definitely what I think. It almost has to be at this rate, right? Like I feel it's got to be Sasha versus Bliss at SummerSlam. Well, I really wanted Sasha versus Bayley, but WWE's blown that to Kingdom Come. That's not going to happen now. So I hope we get Bliss and Sasha, and I hope they tear the fucking house down. It's definitely time to get Sasha back into the the main event picture of the women's division on Raw. So.
Tag teams, you said it yourself. Do you think the Hardys get broken from this? Yeah.
Well, you got to keep in mind, it seems like Matt might be expecting his second kid born this week. So if that happens, Matt might be off TV for a week or two. And if that's the case, and you leave Jeff there to do the singles work, maybe you put Jeff and Miz in an Intercontinental title feud.
I like that.
I honestly would not mind at all. And then Matt returns broken, and then all hell breaks loose. Like I don't know. I mean, there's options there of what they can and cannot do. So We'll see.
Austin Aries, maybe he gets an unprecedented fourth shot since he said he made Neville tap out on the outside.
Dude,
that could be weird logic, but I think what I said in the prediction show after after I saw everything that happened on Raw and everything that happened on 205 Live, I honestly think the next challenger for Neville is going to be Tozawa.
Yeah, I feel like it has to be. I feel like the Aries feud has absolutely run its course.
But I would honestly, to be honest, with Vince having his hands on 205 Live, I would not be surprised that Aries gets yet another shot because he made him tap out on the outside. I wouldn't be surprised at that, but I still think it's going Tozawa's way.
Yeah, I think Tozawa's next in line. Even though Rich Swann hinted on Raw Talk that Neville took the title from him and he wants it back. I mean, maybe they could go to Swann as a holdover feud before Tozawa at SummerSlam. But you know what, dude? If they're moving, look, if Aries isn't leaving the company, and let's face it, at this point, it's too late at night to be able to figure, to talk to people and figure anything out. If Aries isn't leaving the company, I wouldn't mind a Miz Austin Aries feud for the Intercontinental Championship.
And
just throwing that out there.
That's my gut feeling, is Austin Aries is just going to leave the Cruiserweight division.
All right, so. I hope you're right, because I would be heartbroken to see a double leave.
Where do we go with the four losers of the main event? You got Finn Balor, Bray Wyatt, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns.
Well,
do we go Balor Wyatt for a feud?
Yeah, I think you go Balor Wyatt. And
how about Reigns and Rollins maybe challenging Cesaro and Sheamus?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I feel they're just waiting for Braun to come back for Roman. Yeah. So I feel Roman's kind of like in a standstill position right now until they get Braun back.
Reigns and Rollins had a hell of a match this week on Monday Night Raw, so if they have a feud, I'm all about that. I wouldn't hate that at all either. So
they've done the feud before. I don't need to see it again. Yeah. At least not this soon.
That's why I said that was why my initial thought was put Seth Rollins in that Intercontinental picture, especially if Lesnar's going to have that title, Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Lost to the Midcard. As we look forward to Money in the Bank in 2 weeks. Keep in mind, no show this Thursday as I will be gone, but we will be back at you a week from Thursday on the 15th of June for our preview special of said Money in the Bank pay-per-view. And once again, thank you to SpiderDuck.net for being our host, enabling us to be on iTunes and any of your favorite podcasting apps. What you got to do is search for Lost in the Midcard, hit that subscribe button, and you'll know every time a new episode comes your way, most Thursdays and most Mondays after a WWE pay-per-view. You can also find us on the YouTube, and the links to those subscriptions are on our Facebook page. Go to the notes section of facebook.com/LostTheMidcard. We also share a ton of tweets from the wrestling world, as there's always something interesting said out on the Twitterverse, and make sure to follow our account at LITMC Podcast for that. Matt is on the Twitter at Raw F Showtime. I'm on the Twitter at JB Huskers, so make sure to follow us as well. And Matt, before we ride off into the sunset, have a little break, what are your final thoughts?
God, I hope Joe and Lesnar deliver. Because if it just ends up being Joe being taken to Suplex City, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. I'm just telling you ahead of time.
There'll be a lot of expletives on the show.
Oh, it'll be bad. It'll be really, really bad.
Well, we got 5 weeks to mull that over, and 5 weeks to hear Jerry Lee Lewis. So there you go. For Matt Black, this is Jeremy Bennett. Thank you for tuning in to Lost the Midcard. We will catch you June 15th.